3, 2, 1. Episode 3 of Chasing the Racing with the legend that is Dom the Bomb Herbertson.
Well, let's face it, you're a bigger legend, aren't we, son? You know, and across from me, the legend himself, the world's sexiest maths teacher, Chrissy, the Rousset of Rouse. There we are.
So, topics for this week. We're going to be looking at new signings in the world of road racing. We're going to be looking at getting down to weight for the race season.
Great. All ears on that one, son. All ears.
Been trialling a little diet so far in January, so I'm going to just discuss how that's going and my opinions on it so far. And then we've got the first Marshal, or should I say Marshals, of the podcast.
Well, hey,
so
good lad.
We're gonna try a little Skype interview with a few Marshals, and that should end off the show. But before we get started, how's your week been, Dom? What you been up to?
Bloody hell. Well, it's that end of the month, isn't it? So it's the damn taxes. But we're not going to go down that horrible route of things. Oh, by the way, well, hold on. Even before I go and ask him a few questions, let me just say thank you to all the listeners, the new listeners. You're all incredible, and you've obviously got too much time on your hands because we're gaining a lot more, and it's gaining a lot of traction. So thank you so much. But hey, I did get a little bit of negative feedback, mind.
Go on.
A little bit negative. You've just sat up a little bit more there, Chrissy. I love it. A little bit on the awkward side, apparently we are.
Oh,
now, you know what I mean? Well,
we're not professionals. I was just doing our best. So.
We'll stick the bikes. It's much safer. It's much safer. But no, as far as awkward, it's building into it. Where it's a little bit like having sex for the first time. You know, the ambition's there, but your hands are all over the place. You've chucked your clothes out the window. You know what I mean? You're trying to make eye contact, but then you're thinking, have I made too much eye contact? And it gets horribly frustrating. And then you start sweating, and you think, well, have I sweating too much? And But no, that was my horrible first time. How was your first time?
Moving on.
It must have been great then, was it? Sorry, my week. That's what you're asking.
I hear you got invited to a good party at the weekend.
I did. Vicky, Dean Harrison's lovely. They're engaged. They're to be wed, which is brilliant. That's the word. Sorry, too much of a big word for me. So lucky enough to get the invite to Dean Harrison's 30th, and what a turnout, mind. It just shows what people really think of him. And you know, the room was packed, a little hotel in Bradford there, so you can imagine the drinking went on to the early hours of the morning. And I tell you what, though, drinking, you find out who's who, mind. It's absolutely class, man. So no, spent the night with all of their team and everything. Now, Silicon Engineering, who Dean's racing for, right? I met someone who surprised me. Now, it obviously brings up the subject of never judge a book by its cover. This is very much it. Now, there's a lad called Alan, right? And Hannah James has asked me to call him a big, tall, angry ginger. So if you listen to this, that's from her. I can't believe I've just said that on this podcast. No, so Alan, right? You know, he's always been one of those faces. You know what I mean? You must have people like that in the BSB. You know, them faces that you point
see
out
everywhere, but you're not sure who they are.
That's it, Now, Alan, to me, I didn't even know his name was Alan. He's that kind of lad, right? Well, put it this way, if the paddock became a prison yard, it would be all his bitches. You know what I mean? He just looks angry. But I tell you what, a few drinks in him, what an outstanding, lovely lad he is. You know, he just came in full of crack, full of beer, like, hey, what's going on? And it's always good to meet people like that. And Johnny, well, you know, Johnny, Dean Harrison's right-hand man there, he's consistently good crack without a doubt. And he asked me to say that Hannah James is like almost the forefront of this conversation here. But bless her, she was pretty much the most sober one out of all of us, you know, including me, Chloe, Ben, everyone, you know, we were absolutely hammered, and it was a right good laugh. But no, Johnny asked us to say hello to Hannah James, my corner, Handy Pops. Don't want to know what that's about, but hey ho, this is the crack. But no, bar that, the normal crack, as you know, chasing bikes, chasing work, and trying to get money in. So how was your week, son? How was your week?
Well, first of all, I've seen a few videos you've posted this week. Is it been up in Scotland? I've seen a bit of the white stuff.
Sorry, I thought you were about cocaine there. I'm thinking, I don't do drugs, I can't afford it. Everyone will be checking me Twitter feed now. It's at Dom Herbertson, by the way. You know what I mean? But no, it's I've been on the west coast of Scotland, and it's absolutely been bleaching down with snow, mate. Absolutely bleaching. Well, and then today, what's today's date? Wednesday the
30th, I think.
This is when we're recording. Wednesday the 30th, right? That's when we're recording this. And I was on the East Coast today, not a drop, -4, bloody cold. No wonder the Scottish is so good. You know, Steve Hislop, for example, he was so quick because he was so bloody hard.
Have you ever been to Hizzy's grave?
I haven't. No, I tell you what, my dad bought his first race bike off Steve Hislop.
Did he?
It's 250.
Some story in it,
isn't it? But that's for another time.
Well, if you head up to Knockhill, if you go the sort of A1 way, as soon as you cross the border, he's actually just buried just off to the left, so you can go up in the hills, and I think it's only about a mile up, and it's nice like picturesque little graveyard. But he was a legend, that man, wasn't he?
Oh, without it. I'm gonna have to go and say, because my dad actually destroyed that bike. I'm gonna go grass him up to see Hislop. I'll go see his grave. But yeah. So how was your week then? How was your week, son?
Hi, Canny. Obviously, I'm doing my teacher training this year, so as a maths teacher, so
good lad.
I'm busy with that, teaching teenagers how to do the simultaneous equations and whatever.
I've paid for this lesson after this, haven't I? So I'm still struggling with times tables.
So keeping busy with that, and I popped up to see one of my sponsors. Popped down in like Stockton area, so they've got a little bike shop totally out the way. It's like a little farm shop called MSG Bike Gear.
All right.
And I popped down there at the weekend, got myself fitted out with a new back protector and chest protector, ready for the season. And while I was there, actually, I was looking at they do the airbags. Do you know the Dainese air suits?
Aye, they look like bouncers when they fall off motorcycles.
Aye, no, they were just talking about that technology and about, I think, something in MotoGP, like they've had so many, like 60 crashes or 70 crashes with these airbag suits, and they haven't had any broken bones with them. So maybe that's going to be the future for road.
But how much is one of those suits, though? I've never actually looked.
I think they're canny dear, and it's when you can see when someone's wearing one, because when they crash, they look like a spaceman, like the like Lorenzo. He always sets them off. But I just thought it was interesting, and maybe something for the future.
Well, we'll have to look into it. We'll have to start doing homework before these shows, Chrissy. But do they have to restitch the suit or something, or does it deflate and then? I don't know how does it work.
I've got no idea. There's loads of different brands, and I think there's a few different methods of how it works. But just interesting.
This is a good subject. And by the way, yet again to the listeners, thank you for all the suggestions that you've put on the Chasin and Racin Twitter feed. You know what I mean? And hopefully, sodgers, if you don't want to listen, we're going to keep doing this for the crack. But no, thank you so much for listening.
And in the world of motorbike racing this week, I think the main sort of news in the world of testing, World Superbikes have been over at Jerez, not in Russia, but in Spain.
Oh, cheers, mate. There you go. I've actually brushed up my geography since then.
So they did a few days testing there, and then they went over to Portimao in Portugal. Oh, fantastic track that. That is one of the best tracks I've ever ridden on. It's got the change in elevations of somewhere like Cadwell Park, but it's wide and fast, and it's got this section which is like a tabletop jump. So you go up, it tables off a little bit, and then it just drops right steep down, and then you go flat out like fourth gear through a left-hander, and do you know when you feel the sort of the G-forces coming down your shoulders and come? Honestly, mate, it is absolutely mint. But I think they were struggling a little bit there with the wind because it's quite exposed. And
is it quite a coastal track then? Is it?
But it's a little bit in off the coast, so you've got along the is it called the Algarve, like the bottom of Portugal?
Yeah.
It's maybe about 10 miles up from I can't remember the name. So it's Faro Airport. I can't remember the name of the place, but yeah, it's inland a little bit, but it is a little bit exposed. And I think they were struggling with the wind coming down, because there's a few. Obviously, there's the tabletops and change in elevation, but there's the last corner there is one of the best corners on the
ever.
Calendar.
You're about to say ever there.
Yeah,
really?
you get up to speed. I think it's on 1,000. It's probably fourth gear, and then you sort of drop. So it's a right-hander fast. You get into the corner, but still hard on the gas. Elbow down, cranked right over, and then you go down a dip, and then just seems to go on and on and on and on.
Just loads of confidence, just loads
and then
of it.
As you're picking the bike up on 1,000, you'd be doing 100 and 130,
Plus
something
the
like
VAT.
that. Yeah, plus the VAT. And then you come up a rise and onto the start finish straight, and it is absolutely mint. Brilliant track. I would definitely recommend doing a track day there if you ever get the opportunity.
Definitely. There you go.
But yeah, looking at the times, obviously at Jerez, when we were on the second episode of the podcast, the news was that Alex Lowes had topped the timesheets that day, but then they had another few days.
British lad, good lad.
Yeah, and Johnny Ray pulled out the fastest lap of the World Superbike lads to go top 139.160.
Is he ever going to be beaten?
Followed by Alex Lowes, Leon Haslam, Bautista on the new V4 was up there.
All right.
Followed by Top Rack, Sandro Cortesi, who's just went from Supersport to Superbikes on the Yamaha. He's impressing early on in testing. Van der Mark, Melandri, Rinaldi, and Chaz Davies was quite far down. I think he's been struggling with throttle issue connections or something, and also he had a crash in Jerez, which is set him back a little bit in his testing because he's hurt himself a little bit.
They didn't pick up the technology from Honda, did they, on them fire blades?
And then over to Portimao. And again, Johnny Ray just pulled an amazing lap time out the bag. He went almost a full second faster than P2. So he really sort of set the mark early on in testing.
Confidence.
And he'll be going into the first round at Phillip Island full of confidence. Obviously, he was already the man to beat. And then
four times over.
Exactly. And then Kawasaki have brought the new model out, the ZX10 RR, the 2019 bike, and it's got an extra 1,500 revs, so it's just allowing them, that bit more to play with.
Titanium conrods and everything. There's more. It's a lighter engine in general.
It's went from being the best bike to getting even better.
That's
so
it.
I mean, all the manufacturers are bringing new parts to test and stuff, but it just seems like that bike and that team with Johnny are just going from strength to strength, and I think that he'll take some beating this year for sure.
Have you ever ridden a ZX10?
No, well, obviously I'm racing one this year, and I can't wait to get out testing. But
brilliant.
I've never actually been out on a ZX10. So, sorry, I tell a lie. I did a little bit of a track day on my mate, but I was just out with him.
That's not racing.
But
you'll love it.
I cannot wait.
You'll love it because I was lucky enough to race for the RC Express team.
Over in Macau.
Did the Ulster with them. I did Alton BSB, and then I did the Macau Grand Prix. Now, what you'll love about it, now the BM, obviously, you're proving yourself on that, and you can run at the front. Now, when you go into a corner on the BM, there's a lot of forgiveness in them, but once you make a turn, that's it. You've got to be so pinpoint accurate all the time. The good thing about the ZX10 is, if you feel like you've made a mistake mid-corner, there's so much actual chassis forgiveness, you can just keep turning. If you think, well, I need to make a turn a bit harder, and your riding style, you're really hungry for the front, so you'll be able to make the dives and make them stick. I think you're exactly right, and I am quite a front end heavy rider. Aye. So obviously I hope it suits my riding style. I think it will, mate.
I'm sure working along the K-Tech guys, I'll be able to get a good setting, and looking forward to testing.
Good stuff.
And then, other than that, Johnny was fastest, Alex second, almost a second behind, followed by Bautista, Haslam, Van der Mark, Sykes on the new BMW. They weren't running transponders at Jerez, but they stuck one on at Portimao. But even though he was
that careful planning, or was that a mistake?
Well, I think just with the new bikes, they wanted to get the testing done without all the
pressure.
And like what
sense.
People making, talking about just lap times. I think they wanted a few days to get comfy on the bike first. Did you see the new livery for the BMW team?
Yeah, you banged it on the Twitter, didn't
you?
You did that. That was.
It goes to show you actually look at it.
I'm always grabbed. Well, we're both working men, but sadly I've got a chainsaw on my hands, not my phone. There you go. But no, I do pay attention now.
It's a it looks the business. Sean Muir always turns out a really good squad.
Wait, it's always professional. Every product he's ran, BMWs, Yamahas, everything. He's like top.
The Aprilias last year.
Of course, there we go. And, he's always turned out a top team. But when you're competing at this level, to put it blunt, even privateers, you know what I mean? You run to your budget, don't you? To build up top product. But no, Sean Muir does turn out a fantastic team. He really does.
And Tom Sykes finished up in 6th place, 1.391 off the fastest lap time, Johnny. But if you think that's only sort of 4/10 off P2, so we're pretty close. And bear in mind, Portimao isn't one of the strongest tracks, and also there was a lot to do with the tyres. So in Superbikes, how you can choose like qualifying tyres which are super soft and give you that bit extra grip, but they don't have the longevity in them. And also, I don't know if you know, but for World Superbikes this year, they've changed the format again, and they're having 3 races a weekend. So they're having so they have the Saturday race, then on a Sunday morning they're having like a Super Pole 10-lap sprint.
That's mint. And then that's going to add more risks to it, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, well, people are going to have to be careful and tactics. Whether because what I was going to say is the Pirelli are bringing out a new tyre from round 3, which is just made for that 10-lap sprint. So it's harder than a qualifying tyre, but not as hard as a full race tyre. So it's like an in between, and that's designed for basically to last 10 laps.
I tell you what, there's going to be people that, like, to put it blunt, you know, like you got Jonathan Ray, you've got Haslam, you've got all them that are looking for the championship, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
But when you think the lads, you know, think, let's go for it, you know, when it's like, it is confidence is psychological. If you've got lads in front going, but they're not really caring about this, or is it championship points?
Yeah. So
right.
It's not a full championship. So obviously, usually it would be 25 for a win, 20. 16, 13, 11, 10, and then down to 15th place. For the 10-lap sprint race, I think it's only the top 11 get points, and it starts with 12 for the win, and then it goes down to, it might be top 9, it's either the top 9 get points or the top 11, something like that. But and then wherever you I think it is top 9, and wherever you finish, that top 9ers then starts like in that order for the main race on the Sunday. So it's kind of like a qualifying, and you do get championship points for it. So
not massive point.
Yeah. So it's
going to be good.
It's something different. I think World Superbikes have been struggling, especially for like viewing numbers and interest. People are losing interest.
We're taking them.
So they've got to try something new. Obviously, last year they tried that reverse grid thing. So after race 1, the front 3 rows flipped around. But to be honest, it didn't really make much difference. Johnny would win the first one, start 9th in the second one, and then be back to the front within a few laps and win again. So I don't really feel like that worked as well as what they were wanting it to.
Yeah, the ambition was there, but it sadly couldn't get executed.
So they're trying this, and to be honest, as on paper, I would say it's a great lineup for the World Superbikes. There's there is a lot of British riders out there, but there is riders from all around the world. Hopefully, with the changing rules, there'll be good competition from all the manufacturers.
Yeah.
There's a few good, strong privateer teams. And everyone just wants to see good racing. And if it's too predictable, I think it loses that. Are you really going to be that bothered about like not going out and watching it and like whatever? Hopefully it'll be good racing to watch, and I'm looking forward to the start of the season.
No, spot on, man, spot on.
So moving on, look to our first proper topic, new signings this week. So obviously Michael Dunlop got announced at Tyco,
which is just brilliant, isn't it? Because obviously, people didn't have a clue what was going on, and either whatever decision Michael Dunlop made, to either leave the sport or continue with it, he had 100% support from everyone.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
That. But me being the biggest road race fan out there, it's great to have him on the grid. And I'm very lucky enough to go racing against him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have him back. And he's the only lad out there not in the BS, not a BSB racer, really, who can actually take it to the front.
Mm-hmm. And on that, I was just looking at back at all the times and stuff, and I think that Peter Hickman and Dean Harrison really raised the bar this year in 2018. The lap times that they set were like ridiculous, and
I don't even know what to say to that, because it ridiculous is it's great, but it's unreal.
And my personal opinion is that I would love to see Michael Dunlop, be up there battling with them too.
Definitely.
And really get, making it a proper race. But my personal opinion is he's going to have to get to the first few British Superbike meetings, get out and get up to speed, because I do feel like Hickman and Harrison have raised the bar, and the racing week in, week out at a very, very high standard. And I think giving you that practice, the purposeful practice on the short circuits, where you can afford to take a few more risks and just push them limits ever some more than what you were, in a more safe environment.
That's it.
And then when they get into the TT, because they've been racing week in, week out at such a high intensity, it maybe allows them to just push on that little bit higher. And obviously when Michael Dunlop Michael Dunlop was the first man that went under 17 minutes at the Isle of Man TT back in 2016 when he did 133.962, so almost 134 mile an hour lap.
Unreal.
But since then he hasn't actually went faster than that, and the Hickman and Harrison have went up to 135.422 it is.
Unreal, man.
Which is, and also when I was just looking at the sector times, because when Hickman did that ridiculous lap time, he made most of his lap time up in the second half of the course. So
over the mountain.
So there's a few. The first few sectors are split between Dean and Hickman, and then the last few sectors are all Hickman's. But if you combine their like the ideal lap, if you could say
We're going to string up all the perfect sections together.
It takes it to 136.413 miles an hour, which is...
Don't tell him that, because he's like, we'll all go for it.
It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, looking at the difference between Hickman's best and Michael Dunlop's best, you're looking at 11 seconds over the lap, which, over the 37 miles...
That's Dean and Peter, that.
Between Hickman and Michael Dunlop.
Right,
best.
there we go. Sorry, 11 seconds.
Yeah, and over the course of the 6 laps, if you're going off Hickman's best 6 laps and Michael Dunlop's best 6 laps, there's almost a minute between that. So I fully believe Michael Dunlop can be there and challenge him and win. But I do feel like he's got a
big mountain mountain to climb. But you think about, if you sat here now and looked at a clock for a minute, it's a long time, isn't it? Especially in racing, considering, when you go to the BSB, you're chasing not even seconds, like milliseconds, you lads. So, it's exact same ballpark. But even like back to your point prior, it's a craft, isn't it? This is a skill. This is not just, you're not just born to go racing. We feel that as a passion, but it's a craft. You've got to develop a skill, and you've got Michael Dunlop, who he's not doing that. But if he comes into this next season going at British, I can't see why I can't go with him. He's hungry. He's more determined than them lads.
I'm pretty sure that Tyco have actually put an entry in for him. So hopefully we'll see him out in the British Superbikes for the first few meetings. Get him, get up to speed, and then hopefully he'll be able to challenge for the wins when he goes to the island.
Yeah, spot on. Who else we had signed?
So Davo to Honda.
Oh, Davo Johnson.
He's a great lad, Davo, and he's a smashing lad, and he's one hell of a rider as well. He did a great job. That was a Sean Muir setup with the Gulf Racing BMW this year.
Yes, Northwest. Did he do the? He did the Ulster.
Yeah, he did the full.
No, he did Tyco.
Yes, Tyco at Ulster, but he did the Northwest and the TT.
TT on the Gulf.
It was a beautiful looking bike, that, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Like Sean Muir yet again. You know what I mean? But Davo, he's for a loud Aussie, he's actually, he is a quiet lad, really. You know what I mean? And when he just appears on the grid, if you know what I mean, on the pavement, like, go on, Davo, lad. He can really bang in the lap times. He is an extremely fast lad. And unfortunately for him, in the world of social media, his news came out at the exact same time as Michael Dunlop's. So it was almost, bless him, it was almost missed. You know what I mean? But, at the end of the day, the news is out there. It's great to see him on the Honda, and I think you'll go really well on that. I really do.
If I'm honest, I do feel like it's, in terms of the bike, like if you said, what would you rather race, the BMW or the Honda?
BMW.
I do feel like he's making it life more difficult for himself going on the Honda, I would say. But, it's a competitive bike.
He's like a proper pikey, though, isn't he? He can turn his hand to anything.
I reckon he'll be up there, and we'll see how he gets on. What's your opinion between him and Hutchie? Do you think who will be fastest in that team? Because I mean, that's another thing. Hutchie came back this year after, what was it, like he was at the Northwest about a week or 2 weeks after. You can never again.
You can never ever knock the man. Or Hutchie. You know what I mean? His mindset. It's actually something. It's incredible.
Isn't he?
You know what I mean? Because he just can't right. He just blocks out the shite, and just can't right. I know what I want. I'm going to go for it. And I don't think there's anyone that doesn't respect the man's mindset. But when you come down to fitness and everything, I think Davo, he's obviously signed a good team. His confidence is high, and he can turn his hand to any bike. And I think personally, Davo's going to be the one to beat in that team. I really do think that. You know what I mean?
Well, it'll be interesting. And also to see Davey, Todd and Daley Mathison have both joined Danny Webb with the German outfit, the Pens13.com BMW.
Yeah, they all met up at the Macau. They all got together and they've come away, had a brilliant Macau Grand Prix, the team, mind. Absolutely brilliant, you know what I mean? I've said, you know what I mean, about 6 times there, so I do apologise. No, but like I tell you what, let's quickly talk about Danny Webb, you know what I mean? He's gone from essentially like a short circuit man, you know what I mean? He's done, he did MotoGP, not MotoGP, he did Moto... Has he done a Moto?
No. So do you know Moto 3?
Yeah, he's done 3. Yeah.
Danny Webb was actually the very last person to qualify on pole on a 2-stroke 125. So the very last round at Valencia.
There we are.
I wouldn't be able to tell you the year off the top of my head, but
I'm impressed you remember that. So.
He rode for Mahindra and like a few, like loads of other teams. He was in that paddock for years and years when he was a kid. Him and Scott Redden like growing up together.
Right.
And he was the last person to qualify on pole. I think probably against Marquez or whoever was in 125s at that time, which is mental, innit, when you think about that.
That's it. So you've got a man like that, and obviously, you know, when you think people at that level, let's say, because, you know, when you think about the order of the sport, you know what I mean, like when you compare to crappy football, like, you know, the Premiership and the Premier, whatever, but Danny Webb's been at the top, you know what I mean, and you tend to find lads who have been up at that level don't go into the roads, and, you know, my hat goes off to Danny Webb, it really does, because he is not just a short circuit racer. He is a proper road racer. He finished 4th at the Macau Grand Prix. He won the IRRC, you know, International Road Racing Championship. He won that outright. You know, he is a serious hand in this sport. You know, even in both disciplines. I haven't really heard much of what he's doing short circuit wise.
I'm not too sure if he's doing anything.
And he's going on the R1. He's on an R1. Same with Hoy Sega. He's on that. But no, I think Danny Webb, like we're talking about, like Jonathan Ray and all them lads, confidence is there. I think he's definitely a one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Out of those 3 lads, TT, who's 1, 2, 3? Putting you on the spot there a bit.
Bloody hell, that is a good question. You know, like Toddy there. You know, he had a brilliant first year without a doubt. You know, Mathison's got the experience over Danny Webb, but Danny's going on a new bike. That, like Daley Mathison, he knows the BMs. Todd's out there; he's really hungry for it. So I would like to think, stab in the dark, it's going to be Todd, Mathison, Webb.
Todd, Mathison, Webb. I would agree with that. I think Todd and after Todd's first year, I think he could, you know, he wasn't too far off the top lads on his first year, so you would expect him to go on strong. Webb again, how many years has he been going to TT?
I'm trying to think. He's got a few. Must be 3 years, 4 years, because he's been around there in the KMR team. He's been around there with a few teams before.
Yeah,
but he's doing a really good approach to it now. The TT, you don't, like, you know, like we discussed in the last previous episodes, you don't learn it overnight. Davey Todd went in. You know, he's done something different. You know, he went in with like almost like the Hickman approach, and he just went fast out the crate.
Yeah,
and you know, it's a bit of a flip a coin. You know, it's going to work or it doesn't, and it worked for Davey Todd. But like Webb's going, I want to keep going to this event, and he's building into it. But when you think about all the other events, he's gone to the Macau Grand Prix and finished fourth at the Macau Grand Prix. It's his 3rd visit. But there's people been going there 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And he is just climbing. And the lad knows how to ride a bike. And I think, you know, everyone loves a bit of drama. It would be good to see the order swap round. But that's my prediction at the moment anyway.
Yeah. And I think because Davey does a lot of the racing over in Ireland. Did you see that crash that he had at the... Was it...
The Ulster.
The Ulster, when he comes over the crest. And
I was only 2 bikes behind him.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
You want to come to more road races? No. At the end of the day,
he's one lucky man. You've got to say that, mind, hasn't he?
Didn't you chuck a bike over a fence at Alton Park? No, that's a crash. No, at the end of the day, Davey's come over the top. He's unfortunately clipped the grass and lost the front. You know, which is great because no one got hurt. And you know, the Ulster Grand Prix did a fantastic job of setting up the course for safety reasons. You know, Davey came away with a canny limp and a big lesson learned. But he, you know,
I'd say he's lucky to come away with just that.
Exactly, that's it. You know, and you know, it was me, Paul Jordan, the rest of the gang came through on that after that corner, and it was just like Davey Todd was still going down like a bloody bobsled, going down the grass banking. So no, it's he's very lucky to be here, and it's it's
that's it.
What else can you say about that?
Was Davey the RST man of the meeting at the TT this year? And talking about RST, I was actually got me new leathers for the this year
Nice.
delivered this week. So I got me the RST leathers and Daytona boots. So I stuck a picture on all my social media and that. So yeah, just
remind the good people of those links. Remind the good people of those links.
So on my old Twitter and Instagram. But I looks the part, and the suit. Because you went down RST the other day, didn't you? They brought a new suit out this year. I think it's called the
V4.
The V4, a little bit like the Ducati.
That's the one.
I've got to say, it's a massive improvement on the suit from last year. Suits were good last year, but for me, the legs were just a little bit. The problem for me was I was stuck in between two sizes. So there was you could either have the 40 or the 42.
Yes,
and I wanted I think it was the 40 legs, but the 42 up, something like that.
Aye.
But this year they've actually brought out a 41, which is like made for me. And it just fits perfect straight out the box. And I cannot wait to stick them on and get out on my new ZX10.
That's it. There you go. You see, but no, they are a brilliant company to deal with. And
you went down there the other day for fitting, didn't you?
I did. I went in to try the suit, and I was very lucky for them to say, "Can I, join the list of factory riders?" So we're kind of teammates in a roundabout way. So
fantastic. On that, any news on this year? Are you any closer to securing yourself a ride?
Well, yes, yeah. So no, I've well, I'd like to say it's signed, but we're not Valentino Rossi here. No, I've been but I've been asked to join a team, and me, I like tearing myself down. I've been told off for tearing myself down, but I honestly believe this is a big step up for me. It really is, and I can build on this, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it, but I can't tell you, son. I can tell you when the mics are away, but it's up to them to announce the news. But I'm really excited to next week talk about it in full and talk about what we're doing. And I'm starting to get a little bit giddy talking about this.
Oh, brilliant! Well, I'm over the moon that you've got sorted, and I'm looking forward to that crack next week.
Thank you very much. Right now, the team did say I need to lose weight, which brings us on to our lovely next subject, the diet. So go on, tell us about that, Chrissy.
So obviously it comes the point at sort of Christmas time when every year you can sort of relax for a month or two after the season, and then it's time to lose your pounds. And whether you're racing at club racing, whether you're doing track days, or whether you're in BSB or MotoGP or whatever, the lighter you are on a motorbike, the faster you are in a straight line. So
That's
any excess fat, you want to get rid of it. So every year I've tried all kinds of like diets and fitness regimes and all kinds, but this year I came across it's called a ketogenic diet. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
You've made that up. No one's heard of it because you've made it up.
No, it is quite popular, but basically, I don't want to bore you with all the science behind it.
That's next week.
Yeah, but basically, your body can run off two energy sources. So you can run off glucose, which comes from your carbohydrates, your sugars, and your body can make something called ketones, which are kind of like
how do you spell that? I'm writing this down.
Molecules of energy. So yeah, your brain can either run off one or the other. And if you eat the typical Western diet, which is suggested to be, I think it's around 75% carbohydrates, and then I think split, or is it 50% carbohydrates, 25 fat, 25 protein, something like that.
All right.
But this diet, you massively reduce your carbohydrates. So you're running mainly off fats, bit of protein, and a very, very small amount of carbohydrates. And the idea is that if you're not supplying your body with the carbohydrates, which people, when you think of carbohydrates, people automatically
McDonald's.
think of energy. Is what I was going to say. But your body can actually very, very efficiently run off fats. And it sounds stupid, but if you're eating a very fat-based diet, your body's burning fat all the time, and it's brilliant. Well, I've found it brilliant for losing weight, and I'm talking about it because I feel like it's been a positive experience for me. I know that it might not be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, that's it.
I think diets are a very, very
personal
individual,
thing.
personal. It works. Everyone's different, but it's something. I'm a massive eater. In terms of, I've got the appetite, the size, huge appetite. My mum's a feeder. She's like a proper mother. Like, just wants to. She hates it when I lose weight because she likes to see us like she likes to see us, like a big chubby face and whatever.
That's it. When it comes to willpower, it goes out the window when it comes to food, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. But like I said, I don't want to bore you with all the crack on it. But I found it to be a very interesting diet, and the more I sort of read up about it, and I'm finding quite a lot of positives. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm very lean.
How much weight do you think you've lost in? Roughly, just stab in the dark.
Well, to be honest, I didn't this year. Usually, I put on quite a bit of weight and then drop quite a bit of weight off. This year, I haven't actually didn't put on a great deal of weight because I've sort of kept me training up just like nice and gently throughout the off season. But I'm lower weight now than what I was racing all last year.
Really?
When you get in on a night and you just get stripped off.
Aye.
I sometimes look at myself in the mirror and I look like a gypsy's donkey.
Nice.
But I've noticed. Do you know sometimes with carbohydrates you get a very sort of spikes and then you get massive ups and downs.
That's energy, energy.
I
feel knackered.
I feel a lot more flatter. It's suppressing my appetite a lot, so I can have. Just to give you a rough idea, the sort of you want lots of meats, avocado, like bacon, eggs, nuts, things like that. Loads of fatty foods, and you want to keep. Anything big in carbohydrates, like starchy things, bread, pasta, obviously chocolate, sweet, anything like that. So anything with a lot of sugar content, carbohydrates, that takes you out of ketosis. That's the process when your body's burning off ketones.
So anything fun, stay away from.
Well, me personally, I love me steaks. So I'm living off. I get bacon, eggs, avocado for breakfast, loads of steaks. So, sometimes, and if you fill up on meat, it's quite often you wake up in the next morning, and I've always been wanting to wake up, and I've been starving straight away.
Aye.
Where you can get up and you're just not that hungry, and
you just roll out and go.
Just filling up meat, eggs. It's all a lot of it is my favourite foods anyway, so I've really been enjoying it, and I've been finding my training's been going really well. I feel like I've got lots of energy, which is weird because I've always thought without carbohydrates you wouldn't have energy, but like I say, it's worked for me, and when you read up about it, there's lots of success stories, and there's loads of studies to do with like reduction in Alzheimer's, dementia. There's like loads of, because it's like an old school diet, and if you look at the stats of like over the last 20 years or whatever, when the sugars and carbs have massively increased, and like red meats went down, and then all these diseases and whatever have went through the roof. So I think it's interesting, and for all those racers out there that are wanting to shed the pounds, you can fill up on meat. You're not starving yourself, because that's always been my problem when I've been trying to lose weight. I've been like trying to eating the same foods but reducing my portions, and because I'm an eater, I'm a big appetite, I really struggle with that, where filling up on meat and eggs, and then you wake up and you just feel shredded the next day. It's brilliant. So
I need to start doing that, because I tell you what, right, my willpower is crap. If I'm at work and I'm nipped past the post office and I need to go in and I don't know, get a bottle of water or something, I look at a dairy milk bar like a smack addict on cold turkey. I'm shaking, going, I want it, and it's a difficult thing. But no, that's really interesting. That I'm just gonna go buy a cow and butcher it in the back garden, and look like a cannibal.
Well, and if anyone's listening that's interested in that type of thing, I would suggest there's a great guy called Dominic D'Agostino.
Good name.
Who's he's a great researcher and doctor and he's a massive advocate of the the keto diet. So if
Is
you
that
search
free
him,
information?
he's
Or is that-
totally free. He's on the Joe Rogan podcast, another brilliant podcast. He's also been on the Tim Ferriss podcast a few times, another fantastic podcast. And yeah, I would say he's a brilliant person to look. But if you just Google or Instagram or tweet or anything to do with keto, you'll see the types of stuff. And if you're out there and you've tried different diets and you're struggling, this might be for you. So a little bit of free advice.
I'm giving that one a go, son. I'm definitely giving that one a go. But no, that's awesome, mate. That is absolutely awesome. But no, there are 3 subjects for the day, which is which is great. So we've got some extra other news, as far as the social media side of things. We've got a couple of winners and a couple of things to announce. So kick it off, son.
So obviously we've reached 1,000 downloads on the podcast during the week. I can't remember which day, but a good few days ago. So
thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. So I stuck a tweet out there with our new printed mugs, Chasin the Racing mugs. So getting the merchandise out there,
and they're not cheap, mind, because they're working. We've been drinking coffee trying to get this thing going for the last 2 days.
I stuck it out on Twitter, and if you retweeted it, you had a chance to win a mug. So we went on Twitter and go on, Dom, swipe up.
My finger hurts.
And the winner
we have a winner. Go on, have a stab. Who do you think?
No idea.
I have landed my fat finger on Gavin Thompson. You are a winner. Thank you very much,
Gavin
mate.
Thompson. So we'll message you on Twitter and get your details and send you over a mug. And also, obviously, last podcast we were talking about the charity for the swear jar, and we put a little. We had to narrow it down to 3 possible charities. We stuck it out. We had quite a lot of people tweeting us saying, "Why don't we split it 3 ways?" Which I thought was a very good suggestion.
That is a good idea.
However,
that's not the competition.
It's not the competition, but what I thought we could do is we'll support one of the charities for now, and then we can always do other events and support the others. So obviously we can donate towards all charities across the year or whatever. But for now, the swear jar is going to.
And the winner on the polls is the William Dunlop Foundation, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And I've got to say, it was massively tight between that and Lee Johnson's F13.
Go on, say it. Say it. Say what it really means. I'd put a pound in. You're tight.
Go on. Pound. Go on, I'll stick a pound in.
Good lad.
Yeah, I think it was, 44% to 46%. So really close. But thanks for everyone for voting. And we'll maybe every 6 months we'll
swap
total it up, and then we can donate it across. So yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no rules with this podcast kind of thing. You know what I mean? We can chop change dates. And it's something that we're both enjoying. We did not say it. I'm enjoying doing this, and it's something that we want to keep going on with, so we can keep changing things, swapping things around. But Aidan Robinson, right, is kindly jotted up. Aidan Robinson, a very good friend of mine, the size of a Viking. He's kindly jotted up the swear jar to 35 quid. But bearing in mind, I'm going to say something very personal here. My mother has started listening to the podcast, and she keeps telling me off for the swearing. So we're gonna have to start raising little words to make them swear words to start doubling up the pot. But no, with doubling in mind, I am going to double what goes in the swear jar. But I'm going to have to cut back on the swearing. But if we start getting into a subject and get a little bit passionate, I do apologise. But no, whatever gets into the swear jar, 35, there was a couple today, we're going to double it before it goes out. And excellent. That's the next plan.
Brilliant. So to finish off today's episode, we've got our first Marshal of the podcast, and it was actually Marshals of the podcast today. So we had loads of suggestions, and thanks to everyone who voted in. And we'll get plenty on over the course of the year and the season. But today's guests were Andrew Good and his partner Denise.
Yes, a lovely couple there. Well, hello, and thank you for being our Marshal of the pod. I was about to say a week, but hey, we might run out of time.
And we've got 2 for the price of 1 today. We've got Andy and Denise. Are you there?
Hi there, chaps. Yep.
And how are you? Let's talk about you. How are you?
Yeah, all good. It's just been a long off season. We're ready for the season to start now. Get going.
Fantastic.
So we've got a few quick fire questions just to get things started. So first of all, question for you both. What's your favourite track in the UK?
Cadwell.
God, go on, Denise. Go on, girl. Straight off the mark. There
Right
you go.
in there. Mine's got to be between Thruxton and Cadwell, but probably Thruxton, to be honest.
Oh, right. Why is that then, for the pace?
So we marshal at the last chicane.
There we go.
And watching you guys come up on the last lap and do your last lap lunges and your crazy antics, it's fun to get the adrenaline going.
Well, I've never been, so that's Chrissy, not me then. There we go. Right, the second question. Here we go, a house divider. Rossi or Marquez? Here we go.
I met Rossi in Assen a couple of years ago, and he was a really nice chap, so I'm going to say Rossi.
I thought you were going to say Marquez there. There you go. Right, go on, Denise, what's yours?
I think I might have to go Marquez.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. There's no sex tonight in this household, ladies and gentlemen. This is great.
And another big question. When making a cup of tea, do you do your milk, then the water, or do you go water, then the milk?
Well, I don't drink tea or coffee, so...
It's easy.
It's only when the parents come round, so I'm probably going to say milk in last.
There we go then. Very diplomatic answer then. You'll be talking about Brexit next. I'm telling you.
What about you, Denise?
No milk for me.
Oh, milk.
Straight up. There you are. There you go. Straight up. Go on, girl. Girl power.
So whilst you've been marshalling, have you ever been tempted to red flag a race because you didn't like the rider that was leading?
No, I wouldn't say red flag, but we do try and say that they're smoking or there's a bit hanging off the bike, maybe.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, no. Now, we're a horrible couple here, mind. We're tempted to give us a few names, but we're not going to put you in that situation. There we go. As tempting as that is. Right. The final question. Have you ever thought of getting jiggy in a Marshal hood? I mean, talking about sex, by the way, that's a northern term. Jiggy, you know what I mean?
Jiggy.
Jiggy, full-on jiggy. I mean, sex in a hood.
Well, I must say, those orange overalls aren't too sexy, so no, not really.
Oh, nightmare. That was my question. The rest of them were dead sensible by Chrissy here, but no, they were mine, which is unfortunate. Damn it.
So, whereabouts are you both from?
So we're based down in Romsey near Southampton, so Thruxton is our local track, about 25 minutes away.
Oh, fantastic. And what's the plan? Go on, sorry.
I'm from the Netherlands, actually quite close to Assen.
Oh, very good.
I grew up.
And I hear there's a bit of a story about how you got together. Would you like to tell the listeners?
It was in a Marshal hut.
It was in the Marshal hut with the orange overalls, yeah.
Yeah, nice one.
I first went to Assen in 2014 when BSB started going over there. And I was on the Timmer chicane. And there was a young girl over there that was quite attractive. And I thought, oh, yeah, nice looking Dutch girl there.
But I didn't talk to you.
Yeah, so that was the first year. And we sort of just went our separate ways, you know. And
really
then
cool, I like it.
2015 went back over there, back on the Timmer chicane. And there's the girl again. So I thought, right, now it's time.
She's following us. What's she doing?
Now it's time to lay on the old English charm and, you know, show us what our Brits, you know, Mr. Romantic and that. So I just gave her the chat and, of course, swapped numbers, as you do. We went our separate ways. Obviously, I went back to England. She stayed in the Netherlands, where she lived. Got talking, met up a few times. And then, cut a long story short, she's now living in the UK with me after nearly 3 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations, guys. Well done. Well done.
And now we just live our lives marshalling at the weekends. So we've got a camper van that we go around all the UK circuits in. We've done every round last year. That's how we spend our weekends.
And that's why you're our Marshal of the pod. Well done.
Absolutely. That's absolutely fantastic. So when you say you do a full season, is that a full British Superbike season as well as other club races?
Yeah, so we follow the British Superbikes around, obviously Knockhill and Assen, and then we do club meets for North Gloucester and No Limits Racing. So we do a couple of theirs.
That's fantastic. And if you had to say a favourite rider in British Superbikes, who would you pick?
Don't say Chrissy, because that's kissing arse.
Well, I know who Denise is going to say.
Nah, I don't know.
Go on.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say Jamie Perrin.
I'm going to say Jamie Perrin.
In British Supersport.
Oh, very good. And what about you?
For me, I don't know. I take my hat off to all of you guys. So,
come on. No. This is an ITV, son. This is a podcast. Right, we want the truth, young'un. We want the truth. Go on, give us a rider.
I'm going to say Danny Buchan.
Nice choice, mate. Nice choice.
And as well as the short circuits, do you get over to do any of the, have you ever marshalled at the Isle of Man TT or any of the road races?
I've been over to watch, but never been as a marshal, but that is on my hit list of things to do.
Oh, well, they're always looking for marshals, and they'd be more than happy to have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be happy to go over there and help. But it's just getting holiday time off work. I mean, it's quite a commitment. So that's the one thing. It's just if it was a full-time job, I'd be there within the shop.
Smashing. And what's the first meeting on the list of 2019?
So our first meeting will be North Gloucester at Brands Hatch.
When's that then? That'll be nice and early, won't it?
Yep, so that's in middle of March.
Yeah, 16th.
16th of March, yep. So that'll be ours.
I might go to that. I need the track time. There you go, 16th of March.
Come on down. Come on down.
Spot on.
Smashing. Well, thanks so much for being our first marshals on the podcast, and best of luck for this year. I hope that you have a long and happy relationship together.
Nice.
And,
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yeah, all the best. Thanks very much.
Can I just say, Chrissy, it's nice to speak to you. Last time we met, you were in the gravel trap at...
yeah, let's not go there. Well, thanks very much, and I hope to see you soon in the clubhouse, not on the side of the track.
Of course, no problems at all. Cheers, guys.
No problem. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Chrissy, lad, and see you next time.
Have fun in the woods the rest of the week.
Oh, yeah.
See you later, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye bye.